Karyn Bryant for MMA H.E.A.T here with Cub Swanson. You know, I say it every time I watch you fight. Like, you're must-see TV to me, and to a lot of fight fans. I feel that. You're never in a boring fight. You always deliver. Do you feel that that's part of your job every time you go in there to fight, to be extra exciting as well?
Yes, because that's my fighting style, and that's what, in the gym, when I fight like that, or when I spar like that, that's when I'm flowing the best, and that's when I'm doing my best, and everyone's always reminding me and telling me, man, you looked amazing today, keep that, keep that. And so a little bit of controlled chaos, you know, the beautiful destruction, that's when I excel, and I feel like people get in my little hurricane that I create, and it favors me.
But have you changed at all the sparring style now? Because we do hear about fighters, you know, fighting smarter now, training smarter because of the risk of concussion and things like that. So has that made you make any changes in your camps, though?
I spar less, you know, and one thing I've really done is you know, like before you'd spar 2-3 times a week, I spar once, twice a week, and most likely once. And I'm not even trying to hit hard. When I say I come at people and I overwhelm them, I'm literally touching them. In my mind, I'm playing tag, and I know, like, if I surprise them and just touch them on the chin, like, I know that I dropped them or it was a knockout. So I keep tallying in my head, but I'm never trying to hurt them, you know, because I care about my training partners. But yeah, just sparring less, and the reason why is because you're so tired all the time, and I try to make sure that I'm prepared for every sparring session. So I'm not going to do a strength conditioning the day before. I'm not going to do anything that's going to make me, like, if I go into the sparring day and I'm just like tired and I'm just not mentally sharp, I'm like, I'm not sparring today, because I'm not going to get punched in the head because I'm not 100%. Catch me when I'm 100%, you know, and I'm not going to give any of the younger guys the satisfaction of getting the better of me and me go, well, I was tired today. Yeah. You know?
Well, plus a lot of the time now you're putting in work with the champion, TJ Dillashaw. So how good has that been? You know, obviously the training lab is something new. And sometimes, you know, if a guy's opening gym, you know, you own UFC gyms as well, you might be distracted with all the other jobs, right? So how have you guys been able to just sort of galvanize and make sure you had a good camp while building this whole thing?
Man, well, you know, Sam Calavita is our strength conditioning coach at the training lab, and he's done such a good job of getting us on the right supplements, and everything that we're taking is just the you know, top of the line stuff, and very pure. And one thing that he's told us is, you know, we do a lot of recovery stuff, and he monitors our recovery. And one thing that he was noticing was that if we're trying to do too many things, if we're getting pulled in too many different directions, that our recovery is not it's taken a huge, you know, dip. So he just always is encouraging us, like, the closer we get to the fight, like, hey, you know, let's get rid of those other things that don't matter, you know, let somebody else deal with it, or put it off, because, you know, you need to be recovering 100%, and that's something that we really work a lot of, is recovery, and we've both been recovering off the charts this camp, so it's been awesome.
Nice. So Renato Moicano, you guys have a common opponent in Brian Ortega, but he called you out for a while ago, right, Renato? And he says, you know, it's because of the ranking and he wanted to climb it. But how do you feel when you get called out? And particularly, how did you feel when he called you out?
Well, the reason I get upset is because I keep getting called out, and there's, like, you know, there's 15 people on this list, and they call me out, and I'm like, bro, like, so I'm the weakling? Like, to me, I'm like, I get it. Like, I'll fuck you up, you know, like, yeah, like, that pisses me off. Like, whoa, like, I'm the guy you're calling out? Right. So that's why I get a little annoyed, because, you know, I'm like, all right. And when they're saying, hey, is there anybody that you're interested in fighting? I'm like, yeah, this guy, and this guy, you know, line them up. Right. So when they were asking me about who I wanted to fight next, I knew I wasn't going to get somebody ahead of me because of the last fight. And I said, yeah, well, give me Moicano. He's the highest ranked guy that called me out, and we'll start with that.
I think people call you out, though, because they know they're going to have an exciting fight, right? And so your odds of fight of the night are up there. I feel that's what it is. I don't think it's a weak link thing. I think it's like, who can I fight that's going to bring out the best in me and make a crowd-pleasing performance?
Maybe, but don't try to take my anger away.
No, I like an angry cub. I like an angry cub. I did want to ask you about the family. I mean, obviously, that's a big deal for you. How has it, I mean, I don't know if it's changed who you are, a kinder, softer cub, because it doesn't seem that way, but what has it done for you in your life now?
I've always said that the nicer I am outside the cage, the meaner I am inside, and vice versa. The meaner I am inside, the nicer I am outside. So I need that balance in my life, and I feel like a lot of people do. They don't get to let out that anger. I got a job where I get to let out that anger, and especially if somebody calls me out, I get to let out that anger a little bit more, and then I got a bigger family to share that love with outside. So I don't know if you saw my new YouTube channel, but I've been giving people a glimpse inside the life of me and Kenda's, and seeing like what it's like and how we're balancing all this stuff. So it's been pretty cool.
Cool. Well, I have to check that out, but I also want to know how close were we to losing you in the UFC? I mean, I know you had a contract negotiation, and you and I talked. I mean, I'm not giving anything away to say you had a family to provide for. So although you wanted to stay here, it wasn't the be-all, end-all for you. So, but how close did it come to you maybe going somewhere else?
It was pretty close. UFC was the first people I talked to. They made me an offer. It was a raise, and especially coming off of a loss, I appreciated that. But I knew I could get a better deal, and so we shopped around. We talked to everybody. I was pretty disappointed with some of the people just kind of bullshitting me and playing games. And I'm like, man, I'm not in this for games. Yeah. And I got some legitimate offers, and then I had to really think about, okay, well, if I'm gonna fight in a different part of the country, or if I'm gonna fight here and there's no drug testing, am I gonna enjoy this? And for me, I've always been a very passionate person, and if my heart's not in it, then what am I fighting for? It's just a job now. Now I'm just getting a paycheck, and I think that's dangerous, for me just to show up. So I was. Me and my manager talked and said, man, if the UFC gave me a better offer, then I would resign. And so I literally was calling them to talk to them about, sending them the offer that I had gotten, the biggest one, and see if they wanted to match. And they contacted me before I did that, and were like, hey, we got a fight for you, and we wanted to see if we offered you a little bit more than we did the last time, if you take it. And I was like, well, what's the deal? And they gave me the deal, and I was like, yeah, I like this. I'll do this. And so the next thing I know, I asked my team if we get myself ready in 5 weeks to fight Frankie, and I thought we did a great job. I didn't get the best performance, but I felt like I did some good things in there, and overall, I'm happy. Yeah,
well, I think you always do good things in there, win or lose. Last thing I want to get to is something I bring up all the time when I talk with you, is that we do need to go out and wreck some shop on the tennis courts as doubles, but you got to explain to me the pickleball thing, because I was talking to somebody about it, and now you're saying you're a badass pickleball player too? What's the deal?
Well, I picked it up pretty good because I'm an amazing athlete.
And humble as well.
Very humble. No, but yeah, so there's just this guy that I was training with, and he's like, yeah, I happen to be like number 5 in the world at pickleball. And I was like thinking, man, there's no way this guy beats me. So I was like, we went out to the court and we played, and I scored a couple points on him, but then he started taking it serious, and I was like, damn. And it's a fun, fast-paced sport, and it's a lot like tennis, but I think it's easier to get a rally going. There's a couple weird rules that were messing me up, like you can't rush the net until like the second hit. Okay. So there's like all these little things that I was messing up, and then you can't cross that line unless the ball bounces. Okay. So you can't spike, unless somebody barely puts it over, and you got to run up and hit it. So there's all these little rules that I kept messing up, but once you get it down, I think it's a very fun sport, and I definitely will challenge you to it. All right, well, teach me first and then challenge me. Listen, Cub, always a pleasure talking to you. Best to you and the fam. Thank you. I appreciate that.